Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. So we mentioned in your bio that you're originally from Northern Ireland, but you come over to pursue a creative art. Is that right?
Yeah, so I moved to Brighton to go to the art college, and I did a year doing the foundation course here at Brighton. And the idea, I don't know if you know, or other people maybe don't have foundation courses, but before you do an arts degree, you do foundation, and the idea is that it helps you find out what you want to specialize in, and you
Yeah.
try everything from like printmaking to painting and textural stuff. And at the end of the first year, I was more confused than when I had began. And the tutors were sort of pushing me into doing fashion and something maybe textile design. But my heart wasn't really in it. So I think I left art college, gave myself some breathing space, and thought what I'll do is get some work experience, like go out in the field and find what I'm good at or really passionate about.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought about styling and photo shoots, because I was obsessed with the Face magazine. Do you know the magazine?
Oh,
And it was,
maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so there was the Face and there was ID and all those photographers that were coming up in London then, like Corin Day and David Sims, and just that really cool photography that was around in the early 90s. They all shot for the Face magazine, and I used to get it when I was at home in Northern Ireland, and I was just obsessed. I was just absolutely obsessed with the imagery, and it never occurred to me that it was the photography. So one thing that I tried was going and doing work experience for a fashion stylist. And that was my first experience in a proper photography studio. And that was East London, early 1990s. The photographer was Mario Sorrenti, complete unknown at the time. And he was taking pictures of his then girlfriend and her brother, and a friend was the hairdresser. So we know someone else the makeup artist, and I was just there to assist the stylist. Um, and I very quickly realized that I had absolutely no idea what she was doing, and it wasn't something I was ever going to be skilled at. But once I kind of got over that and just started to watch what Mario was doing, I realized he wasn't doing anything that I couldn't figure out.
Mm.
And I thought, here's this photographer shooting for this publication that I've been obsessed with, that I admire so much. And I'd always been taking photos, I'd always had cameras. And I was like, maybe it's not as technical as I think it is. Maybe you don't need to, really know how to operate every single light in the studio. Like, you need to know, have an instinct for light, which I could see exactly what he was doing. So that was a complete epiphany for me. And that
Yeah.
changed the direction of everything, because I then went on the path to become, to train up and become a photographer. Now, I didn't seek out doing fashion photography because I understood that wasn't actually my specialist area.
Right.
But I kind of did go back to what I thought, like, those portraits in the Face magazine, and my other great love, which was music, thinking about, like, I wanted to work with people in music. I thought, if I could just be anything, I would travel the world with rock stars.
Mm.
6 months later, I was.
Yeah. So do you think it was important? I think we've had other people mention on our webinars how important it is to shoot something that you love. Is that
Yeah.
important? Do you?
Oh, and still 20 years later, it's exactly the same thing. Shoot what you
Yeah.
love, because that
Yeah.
passion is what keeps you going, because it's hard work. It's hard work. It's hard work to get the work. It's hard work to do it. It's antisocial a lot of the time. So yeah, you need to have that love. And once I sort of realized that studio photography could be within my realm and something that I could do, I just set out to get as much work experience as I possibly could, and made best use of one very slight connection that I had in the music industry to get my foot in the door. And then I started to work assisting lots of music photographers in London, and one kind of really took me under his wing,
Right.
and I became his second photographer. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of women working in music photography, in the UK anyway. I don't know about anywhere else, but often I was the only woman who was part of the crew. And I just felt was something that I brought that the other male assistants or second photographers didn't, which was a real empathy and an understanding. I could kind of tell when the client was tired and maybe needed a break, or it was time to, put the kettle on or go get some cake, or, so more than like, and I did have to lift all the backgrounds and the lights, and I did obviously have to learn all the technical stuff. But kind of more than that, I think I brought something to the table because I was a woman. And yeah, that led to me having that beginning and getting an agent. So yeah, sort of within 2 years, it was quite accelerated. And that maybe makes it sound quite easy. Like, I wouldn't say it was like super easy, because it was very challenging. Of course, 20 years ago, we didn't have the internet. You couldn't just email people and be quite passive about it. You had to get on the phone and ask people if you could get some work experience with them. But yeah, I soon learned the fine art of making sure that I was, always talking about how I loved their work, what I really connected with in it, and making a really damn fine cup of tea.